Welcome to this week's weekly Death Digest with Steve, Kim, and Paul. So
And the book, there's actually a book on this, as I mentioned. It's called Sex in the Afterlife.
So we were discussing sex in the afterlife, and it was a new concept for me. So Paul has graciously brought this book into our conversation.
Sex in the Afterlife is not physical, of course. There's no body to actually have physical interaction. And there, there's it's kind of in this, but, in the afterlife, what's attractive about what's apparent, what's visible about someone is what's inside in this life. You know, what you might call their soul, or what they look like psychologically, or what their essence is, as opposed to what they look like physically. So, in the afterlife, you kind of hook up with someone who is on your level, so to speak, spiritually or in soul terms. You know, because it, um, it can be, there's no hiding in the afterlife apparently, and it can be very revealing of you reveal it all in some sense to someone else who's there and can see you. And sex in that event is actually sort of a complete mingling of the spiritual selves and the two individuals. So it's not focused on genital organs at all. It's a kind of an overall energetic connection.
Okay.
And it's supposed to be very satisfying in some ways, very very deep, very powerful, and it's a very important part of life on the astral plane for as long as you stay on the astral plane, which isn't forever necessarily, but it's for some period of time for most people. You spend some time on the astral plane, the planes so-called, and correspond an energetic level to your astral body, or astral bodies, as the case may be, depending on the theory of the system that's talking about, you know, what sex in the afterlife might be like. So, see if there's anything interesting that in particular that.
So is this his theory, or does he claim to have experience with this? He's not dead, I guess.
He's not dead, as far as we know. But he seems to have a lot of knowledge. And I looked at his book once, where he got his knowledge from, and one was some of this is philosophical. Madame Blavatsky, Annie Besant, Ledbetter, Charles Ledbetter, kind of line of influences. And then there's his teacher is named. I can find his teacher in here. He's a Sufi, I believe. I don't actually see it, but he's a fourth way Sufi kind of guy, and that's.
It's not E.J. Gold, is it? It's not E.J. Gold, is it?
He does seem to have a surprising amount of knowledge for someone who's not dead. About death and dying, he knows a lot about what it's like to be after death. Yeah, I don't see the name of the guy in here, but it's in his other book, which is Handbook for the Recently Deceased. It actually is a book written by a Gold student named Todd Needham. Interesting enough, he's in Grass Valley, I believe. Oh, here it is. It's Omram Michael Ivanov. Ivanhov. That's his teacher.
You know?
No.
And The other interesting, especially some of it is obviously tongue in cheek. It's not entirely, but some of it, most of it is not actually. It talks about the how everything in the universe, the major energetic forces of the universe are sexual. How powerful the sexual energy is. And he describes the energy of the sun, which is our main energetic source, is the prime sexual energy of the sun. So that plays a very important role in his cosmology and his understanding of sex. Sex is
The sun.
sun.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have to say about that?
Well, sun being masculine, earth being feminine, I mean, it kind of makes sense. Energy from the higher order going to the higher order. So it's very, fourth way in that sense. But it sounds almost tantric rather than
That's what I was going to say.
Theosophical or fourth way.
Yeah. Does he talk about tantra in there?
Called sexual tension. And he says most people avoid tension. It's a force that we can use to great effect when we know what it is capable of and how we can use it. He's actually he has a very, you might call it moralistic or morally based approach to sexual energy, which is because it's sacred, you have to treat it with utmost respect and care, not to waste it, not to misuse it. Although it's hard to misuse it on the astral plane, I think, because you won't be able to get anybody to have sex with you if you're actually ugly inside. Because that will compare it to your proposed partner. You can't fool him. Although women on dating sites routinely say that they know the player within a few minutes. They know who the players are within a few minutes of talking to them on the phone, whatever. So
on the astral plane?
On the earth plane.
Oh,
it's
okay.
a link between the fact that you can spot someone in the astral plane, but you can also spot someone in the earth plane. Yeah.
Oh, really?
When we understand... Go ahead.
So I was saying his information in that book, even though it's for those who have recently deceased, is useful for people still in the earth plane.
Absolutely. Because sexual energy is sexual energy. It's expressed in different levels and different things, different vibrations of existence, but it's still sex.
So it's just inhabiting a body on the earthly plane versus not on the
idea
astral plane?
To make sex on the earth plane more like sex on the astral plane.
Oh,
Yeah, which sounds very tantric.
It is a little tantric, I would say. Yeah, he talks about it as one of the core ways of obtaining knowledge of the universe, actually. The lesson of sex is this: if you do it with love, then don't do it at all. Sex is wonderful and necessary. The only problem is that most people don't have sufficient regard for its qualities. Most people don't understand the energy involved. When they're physically alive, they can't see them, and even if they could, they don't know how to control them. But what he's saying is that the purpose of sexual union is to give, and to use the sexual tension in order to develop their being. Actually, so sex is really seen as, it is tantric in that sense. It's seen as one of the primary ways you're able to grow on any plane. Actually.
yeah.
So even on the astral plane, there's growth through
Yeah.